I still can't believe what I discovered, but when I caught my wife and her affair partners on camera, it hit me like a ton of bricks. The betrayal felt like a punch to the gut, and I couldn't stand the thought of her getting away with it. So, I blindsided her with divorce papers. How could she do this to me after all we had been through? I'd been married to Betty for 6 years. We had built a life together, or so I thought. I traveled often for work, training sessions, support trips, and never once did I suspect anything was wrong. That was until last year. Suddenly, there were signs. She was out more, buying new clothes, and her phone became a fortress. She'd act distant, giving me vague and evasive answers when I asked her questions. Our sex life, once vibrant, started to fade. And yet, she assured me everything was fine. She claimed she was just focused on improving herself. But something inside me nagged at me. I wasn't satisfied. So, I did what anyone would do when trust starts to erode. I cloned her iPhone to my iPad. The messages and emails that flooded in were nothing short of a nightmare. There they were, proof of everything. She had been talking to multiple men, exchanging intimate messages, and had slept with most of them. I even found pictures she thought she had deleted. And to make matters worse, she was meeting them at our house while I was away on business trips. I spent a whole day at work, scrolling through the evidence, trying to make sense of it all. But all I could think about was my next trip and what was happening behind my back while I was gone. I needed more proof, solid, undeniable evidence. So, I set up 2 cameras, one in the living room, one in our bedroom, all hooked up to my network storage. When I returned from my trip, I got more than I bargained for. There she was, 2 different men in my home while I was away. And to top it off, watching her enjoy acts with them that she would never dare with me. It broke me. I dug deeper. I found out everything I could about these men. One of them was married, a deacon at our church. A deacon. I couldn't wrap my head around it. A week later, I went away again, and sure enough, there was a 3rd man. But I was done waiting. I came home early from a planned business trip. I told her I had to go to Phoenix for a few days, but in reality, I faked the trip and checked into a local hotel. I planned my move carefully. 20 minutes before her date was supposed to arrive, I showed up at the house. I let myself in. And there she was, getting ready. The shock on her face when she saw me was indescribable. I pulled out my phone and showed her the videos, proof of everything, and told her, flat out, that we were done. She begged, pleaded, promised to change. She was ashamed, she said. She wanted another chance. I told her she had one final chance, cut all ties with these men, tell me the truth about everything, or I'd leave. I made her write a list of every person she'd been with. And if she wasn't honest, I'd know. I also insisted we go to couples counseling. I needed to get to the root of why this happened, why she chose this path. But I wasn't done yet. I couldn't let this go. I tracked down all 3 of her affair partners and showed them the video clips. I told them they needed to block her. No more contact, or I'd send everything, the texts, the videos, to their families, friends, and co-workers. I made sure they knew I was serious. We went to therapy, and things seemed to improve for a while. Almost a year, in fact. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I never told her how I was still keeping tabs on her, how I could still read her texts, her emails. Trust, but verify, right? Sure enough, the old habits resurfaced. She started talking to another guy, sending nudes and trading texts again. So, I set up another fake trip. And when I got back, there it was, she had arranged another date at our house. This time, I waited down the street in a rental car, watching as the guy walked into my home. And then, I walked in on them, in the bedroom. I filmed it, my anger boiling over. I yelled at the top of my lungs. She was crying, he was scrambling to get dressed, and I was done. I told her to leave. But of course, she begged me to stay, promised everything would be different. I gave her an ultimatum, 48 hours to confess to her family and friends what she had done, or I'd expose everything. I'd send the videos, the texts, to everyone. When I confronted her new affair partner, I made sure he knew his wife was about to find out everything. His life was about to implode, just like hers. Betty tried to call me, begging for mercy. She was in full panic mode. But I was done. I was watching it all burn. And then, the final blow came, the divorce papers were served. I couldn't even feel satisfaction. It felt like the end of a chapter that had been doomed from the start. She said she understood, but still wanted to talk it through. I spent days in a hotel, wrestling with my emotions. She called me, claiming her life was falling apart. Her affair partners were contacting her, their lives crashing down as I had promised. I asked if she had told anyone yet, her family, her friends. She said only a few people. That's when I told her I would be reaching out to everyone. She swore she still loved me, but I knew there was no coming back from this. I reminded her that I should have left when I found out the first time. I had read every message, every email from the last 3 years. Nothing was hidden from me anymore. How could I ever trust her again? The truth was, I couldn't. The only thing left was the divorce. Now, the aftermath continues. Some people say I should expose everything, others say I should walk away. My best friend's wife even suggested I scorch the earth. It's tempting to just lash out, but I have to wonder, am I doing the right thing? Is revenge really the answer? When you saw those texts and emails, your heart must have dropped faster than a teenager's grades after discovering video games, right? And then, the hidden cameras, oh, what a genius move. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck unfold, each revelation more jaw-dropping than the last. 2 guys, in one trip? Your wife was more industrious than a squirrel in autumn, gathering her stash of secrets. But wait, her partner? A deacon? Who would have expected that? And then, therapy. It seemed like a brief reprieve, like a band-aid on a bullet wound, an attempt at patching up something irreparable. But we all know, old habits die hard. Betty's phone became her confessional once again, and that was the moment you knew. Your second sting operation, bravo, OP. You could teach a master class in deceitful detective work. And now? Now, you're ready to unleash Betty's greatest hits on an unsuspecting world. You're not just burning bridges, you're torching the whole damn village. But some men just want to watch the world burn, and hey, you've got front row seats with popcorn in hand. 6 days later? The fallout is massive. You've gathered a mountain of evidence, and now, it's time to confront Betty. The 48-hour ultimatum you gave her? Chef's kiss. You gave her just enough rope to hang herself with her own guilt. You were patient, but that patience was a ticking time bomb. You forced her to come clean to her friends and family, to take responsibility for wrecking your marriage. But, as expected, when you reached out to your friends, some were clueless, while others heard only a version of events that painted her as the innocent one. What did you do? You did what any master of vengeance would do. You put together a group text, oh, the audacity. A Dropbox link, filled with the damning evidence. Descriptions of events over the past 2 years, text messages, explicit photos, and videos. She thought she could hide it all, but you had it all saved. You included everything, the timeline of her affair, the Snapchats, the nude selfies, and even a few videos with her lovers. You gave your friends permission to share this information freely, to let everyone see the truth. And you warned the wives, Betty had a preference for married men. Boom. The group text went out. The floodgates opened. Her affair partners were shaken to their core. The deacon? Gone. The pastor's wife stepped in, suggesting Betty resign from the church committee. Divine retribution at its finest. The fallout? Spectacular. 3 out of 4 of her affair partners are facing divorce, and the 4th? Stuck in limbo, uncertain of his future. Betty's best friend? Separated from her husband, who now knows she enabled the affairs, kept it all a secret from him. It wasn't just your marriage that was destroyed, it was her entire world. But then, Betty screams at you, screaming about how you aired your dirty laundry. And your response? Simple. What part of it wasn't true? What could she say to that? You've blocked her. You've blocked it all out, and now you're ready to walk away. One final message sent: actions have consequences. You've torched everything. But you know what? Some things are worth burning to the ground, especially when they've been built on lies. Now, we shift to another painful chapter, don't we? It's a different story, yet equally devastating. You're 68, and after nearly 4 decades of what you thought was a blissful marriage, your world shatters. Your son, your own flesh and blood, comes to visit and drops the bombshell. Reddit. The forum called adultery. That's where you learn your wife's truth. Not from her, but from a stranger on the internet. Could you even imagine? You thought you knew everything. You had full access to her phone, yet she kept you in the dark. Deception ran deeper than you could ever fathom. And when you saw the posts, the ones where she mocked you, the ones where she spoke about her lover like he was everything you weren't, that must have felt like a punch to the gut. You didn't deserve that. But, in that moment, you became the fool. You cried. And your son? He cried too. The weight of the truth hit both of you at once, like an avalanche. But here's the thing, that's where the story turns. Your son stepped up. He was your rock, your support. He got you to therapy, and you took the first steps toward healing, even when it felt impossible. You felt like your whole life was a lie, but here's the twist, your lawyer is sharp. You're making smart moves, like blocking her and only communicating through legal channels. You're not alone. You've joined the support groups. You're reading, learning, and growing stronger. Slowly. Painfully. But you're rising. You'll never get those 11 years back. You'll never get the trust back. But you will find peace. It won't come all at once. It'll be hard, and you'll have moments where you wonder how you ended up here. But you're not giving up. You're not throwing away the rest of your life just because of someone else's betrayal. So, vent, OP. Let it all out. You've earned that right. And as for your wife? Well, sometimes people are just selfish, deceitful, and cruel. It's not about what you did to deserve it. It's about what you do next. You get up. You keep moving forward. You rise from the ashes. Cheers to new beginnings. Bitter, sweet, but new beginnings nonetheless. Thank you for sharing this journey with us. It's painful, it's raw, but it's real. If you found some strength in these stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Take care, and we'll see you